Live from the mist-enshrouded mountaintop fortress that is X and Y Communications headquarters, you're listening to the world-famous Mountaintop Podcast. And now, here's your host, Scot McKay.
All right, how's it going, gentlemen? This is your main man, Scot McKay, coming at you again with another episode of the Mountaintop Podcast from X and Y Communications. You know, some of you guys who are listening are Gen Zers or millennials, and I appreciate you younger guys listening, but I also know we've been doing this show for 20 years now, and a lot of you guys have been listening since the beginning, and, you know, you've matured along with me in terms of the number of birthday candles you've blown out as we've gone through the show. But you know what? We don't want you to feel blown out. I have a guy today who, even though you may feel like a grizzled veteran at whatever age you are, late 40s on up, it's probably better from a position of attracting women and looking your best at any age to be a veteran who isn't so grizzled. So my guest today is a master at helping you be that man who's maximizing how attractive you are pretty much at any age. His name is Dr. Regan Archibald, and he is the founder of Ageless Future out in beautiful Park City, Utah. He has offices in Salt Lake and Denver. I even heard him say he had an office in Brooklyn, New York. So he's all over the place. He's doing a great job at this, and he is going to impart some of his wisdom to you. And I'll tell you what, I'm listening along with you guys. I can't wait to hear what he has to say. Regan, welcome to the show, man.
Oh, so good to be here, Scott.
Yeah. I am interested to know how long you've been doing this.
22 years, and it's been a wild ride. We've seen massive transformation in medicine, but there's no better time than now to be in this field.
So I'm assuming you're no spring chicken in terms of the birthday candles yourself. You just happen to look great. Am I correct?
I'm maturing just like you are and everybody else.
Very good. Because we love guys who, as Cisco Systems used to say, eat their own dog food around here. You know,
Yeah.
You're using what you're preaching about in your own life, correct?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you think
Why
about
not?
it, like you just feel better when you look good. And I mean, vanity. Charles Euster was this retired dentist in the UK, and he took up bodybuilding at the age of 85. And he hired a former Mr. Olympia. He put on like 21 pounds of muscle. He could do some insane things for his age. And when people asked him, like, why did you take up bodybuilding at such an old age? And he said, well, there's some sexy 70-year-olds and I'm trying to turn their eye.
Nice. That's what we're all here for, man. I think a lot of guys see studies like that one that was done a couple years ago that say really scary things like, hey, men can be attractive to women up until age 55, then the bottom falls out of it. And just like when we read other studies that women only want tall guys, or they only want rich guys, or they only want guys with six-pack abs, dudes hit their 55th birthday and they feel like, okay, throw that pebble onto the mountain of limiting beliefs that I'm supposed to hold now. I don't know about you, but I don't see how that has to be a hard limitation at 55 years old.
Now, if you look at another study, it's if you think of peak performance. So when were you at your peak? You know, you're a former BMX racer, and you're not at your peak right now, according to what you told me.
Well, hold on now a second. That's a little out of context. I still have an expert card. What the truth is I am the worst BMXer in the family.
Okay.
You know, everybody's better than I am. And I also don't find a whole lot of glory in going out there and breaking my leg as an adult BMXer, you know.
Sure.
Anytime you go around riding little kids' bikes, all your peers are going to go, oh, well, that's real cool anyway. But then you say that you do the play-by-play announcing for it, and it's like, oh, well, that's really cool. You're involved in your kid's sport. I don't know. I'm doing lots of dangerous things. I'm hitting the skate park and, you know,
Oh,
a little
nice.
surfing
Okay.
here and there. So I'm not afraid to get broken. But in the BMX racing realm, I just don't feel the need to go out there and actively compete and rub elbows in that particular sport anymore. But man, I'm ready to hear what you have to say in terms of getting out there and mixing it up for sure.
Yeah, and the context, I guess, that I misread was you're the worst in your family, but you've got a family of racers, so that's
right.
fine. But
It's an ironic
if that-
statement, frankly. Yeah.
Yeah, if that was your vision, which is not to be to be the world leader in BMX, that great. But because what we're seeing is with the technology in medicine, people can find a new peak performance. And so, I have a Major League Baseball player, former Major League Baseball player, on his 60th birthday. He tested all of his biometrics. He did his bench press, his squats. He did all of the heavy lifting. He did his VO2 max, his endurance racing, and he outperformed every metric that he had in his 20s and 30s. I mean, it's pretty impressive. And so, and to say that he looks like a 6-year-old, like there's no way. His girlfriend is in her late 30s, and he gets better and better looking. I have a gentleman in his late 60s, almost 70, and he won't tell people his age. He always just says, "I've forgotten my age, and I'm just me." And he's also somebody who just married a 38-year-old who's a gorgeous woman. And so, the thing about it is age is a mindset. And if you let yourself, if you believe in this idea, you said throw that pebble into a mountain of limiting beliefs. It's like, man, get rid of that as quickly as possible, because you have to identify as somebody who is younger. And if some of the prophecies, for lack of a better term, are true, that we'll have the ability to extend our lifespan substantially in the next 5, maybe 10 years. I mean, if you read some of Ray Kurzweil's work, you and I were talking about Peter Diamandis earlier. Their prediction is, this escape velocity is going to happen within the next decade. And I'd imagine the majority of your listeners do plan on living another 10 years. And so then we have to say, all right, well, what does that matter if you look old and if you can't do the things you love to do? And so right now is the time to take care of your health. And there's some great things to do for that.
Great. I'm all about diving in. First of all, your friend who's the former baseball player, if he's that good of an athlete, he should just declare for the WNBA draft next year.
Yeah,
That's
wouldn't
the
that
first
be
thing he
cool?
should do.
Just get in
Yeah.
there with the WNBA. Just
Yeah, with Enos Kanter
maybe-
and those guys and mix it up. Heck yeah. Yeah. But in all seriousness, the limiting beliefs when you're young, I'm not handsome enough, you have these looks maxer guys going around trying to fake it till they make it, when you have legitimate health and legitimate youthfulness about you, which, can be shortened to youth, frankly, but we're not really young. So maybe the youthfulness is worth the extra 2 syllables in that context. But, when you're saying age is just a number, which is, you avoided the stereotypical phrase, but, that's really what we're talking about here. It becomes a whole nother, I don't know, tier of limiting beliefs when you hit about 40. Like you get up out of bed in the morning and you go, oh man, I just hurt. And then you figure, okay, well, that's just attributable to aging.
Yeah.
And then you start forgetting stuff and brain farting and you go, you know what? It's not like I have early onset Alzheimer's. I'm just not as young as I used to be. And things in the bedroom aren't performing as well as they used to be. I will raise my right hand. I fell for some of that thought, because I was, having a few too many brewskis and let the LBs creep up. And my sleep habits were crappy because I run my own business around here, and make my own hours. I'm chasing around a bunch of young kids. I mean, my youngest was born when I was 45. And, I do have injuries that are nagging from years of not only the BMX racing, but motorcycle road racing and, playing lacrosse and stuff like that. And, I started getting things like the restless legs at night, keeping you awake and waking up with a tight chest and just going, oh, God, I feel like I'm going to have a heart attack, but maybe that's just what it is. Then I realized, like you're saying, this doesn't have to be this way because I heard too many stories anecdotally about how guys were like, no, I got over it. And so now 10 years older as I am now, I am almost completely pain-free. I could jump off the tailgate of my pickup truck and guys like, doesn't that hurt your knees? Guys 35 are telling me that. Like, no.
Right.
I can fall off a bicycle or take a crash here and there, or take a hit here and there and it'd be all right. I had a chronic side sleeping shoulder injury, gone. I used to get,
Right.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm being a little vulnerable here. People are going to be like, "Damn, McKay," but I had a chronic sprained elbow, and just like, this is
Mm,
really annoying. The right supplements, the right life changes, and I just don't hurt anymore. Erectile
man,
dysfunction is something I don't even give a thought to. I'm sleeping better. I did give up the alcohol mostly, which most doctors
great.
would applaud. But with the right supplements and changes to my sleep patterns and just really caring more about this, I can't believe how much better I feel. And then when you start getting fatter, your brain, your psychology starts just doing diabolical things to you, like saying, "Oh, no, you know
Yeah.
what? Give up, get fatter, get older, die younger, who cares?" And you start getting this schleprock effect going where you're just kind of a little depressed. And then what happens is when you add some discipline to your life and say, "You know what? I'm going to stop the beers. I'm going to stop the carbs," and you start losing the weight, your brain kicks into gear and suddenly you're happy to be alive again. And then you go, "Man, I'm glad I had that wake up call because it was all a dirty trick." Does all this make sense? Do you hear this from other guys?
All the time. Well, I mean that's the common phrase is I didn't think I could feel this good at my age. And I think we've had some poor role models in society, our dads, our grandpas, people just they want to be old because it gives them an excuse. And it's no different in the medical field. I mean, you go to your doctor and your doctor's like, "Oh, this is a normal part of aging." And you're like, "Well, I'm 45. I shouldn't have achy knees, shouldn't be waking up with the sore back." I mean, we have what's called a no pain policy at Ageless Future. Pain can really limit your ability to create a bigger future for yourself because it's the only thing you can focus on. When you're in a lot of pain, you're not motivated to get to the gym. You're not motivated to find enjoyable activities. And so, one of the first things people want to do is get rid of pain. And you nailed it. I mean, what drives pain? Well, it's inflammation, and it's chronic inflammation. And what drives that? Well, sugar consumption. Alcohol is the most refined sugar we eat and consume, and so just you getting rid of that one thing makes a huge difference. People don't realize how dangerous the food is in our society. The processed foods, the things in packages, that can destroy your future. And most of the time when we get obese, when we start putting on the pounds, we just say, "Oh, I'm just old." We justify our belly and we say, "Oh, it's just my dad bod's kicking in." But if you look at that and you say, "Well, what's that actually doing to you? And is it really what you want to bring? You want that belly, and do you want to bring that into the future?" And there's very few women who are attracted to a big bellied man. So, man, if you want to feel good about yourself, the first thing you got to do is stop justifying certain behaviors. And I know it's like I've got my own, it's not like I'm live some perfect life, but I can tell you that there's when you just decide that you're not going to tolerate a lifestyle like that, you're not going to tolerate staying up late, you're not going to tolerate drinking alcohol on a regular basis. You're not going to tolerate hanging out with negative people. You're not going to tolerate being sedentary. You're going to go for a walk instead of watch TV. These are just decisions that we all have to make every day.
Yeah, it's interesting. It would be very easy for me to sit here, after the coaching calls are done, the end of the afternoon, before the nighttime ones kick in and go, "Yeah, you know what? I am just feeling fatigued. I'm feeling tired." And that's something you didn't even mention is, in addition to the pain, if you feel tired, if you're experiencing chronic fatigue, you're not going to feel like doing anything. You're not going to want to do anything about it. And your psychology descends from there. But, at the end of the day, a working day, it would be easy for me not to go on that bike ride around the neighborhood. And
Right.
just skip it today, or not go to the gym, or not walk around the neighborhood, whatever it is that we do. But as soon as we get out there and get on the bike, we're glad we did,
Yeah.
almost invariably. The fresh air feels good, and we're glad we're doing something. We feel better.
Always happy. Like you get in a cold plunge. It always sucks. I did it every day for a year and I still hate it. But when I get out, I feel like a new man. I'm rejuvenated. But it's like it's doing the uncomfortable things that make life easier in the future, whereas choosing the comfortable path is what makes life harder in the future. And like my kids and I, we travel all over, and my family, we have wellness as part of our lifestyle. And it's like we're taking the stairs. We're the 2% that take the stairs. And we're always like looking at all these people waiting in line to get on an escalator to go down. And I'm like, gravity's pulling them down, but people are like, they're so used to taking the comfortable path. And so what I've learned in working with, we've had over 70,000 clients come through our offices. And the most interesting thing is, no matter what age, just like Charles Euster, if you're somebody in your 70s or 80s, like you can make massive transformations in short periods of time. I'm a big believer in, just like you have operating systems in your computer that you've got to update, you've also got a biological operating system that needs to be updated frequently. And this is where, we call this, there's these 4 steps to it. It's called AFOS, the Ageless Future Operating System. But clarify, what do you want your future to be like, and really dial in, believe that you can be the healthiest version of yourself 10 years from now. So how do you want to look? How do you want to feel? How do you want to perform? What are the kind of people you want to attract? What are the women that you want to attract into your life? You don't just want a beautiful woman. They'll get pretty annoying quickly, especially if you're mature. You want a woman who's gorgeous, but also who is going to look out for your best interests, right? Somebody who's got good character, and they've got a heart, and they've got a soul, and they're going to help you be a better man. So if you don't show up as the healthiest version of yourself, you'll never attract that person.
Why do you think that is?
Health is more contagious than disease. Scott, we you and I made it through COVID, but the thing that we learned through this is that when you are around healthy people, they behave differently. I mean, if you hang out with obese people who drink a lot of alcohol, inevitably you're going to end up being that same thing. I mean, we tell our kids all the time, like, be careful of who you spend your time with, because they will influence you, whether you think they are influencing you or not. I can't remember the statistic, but I mean, it's enormous. You're like 50% more likely to be obese if the 5 closest people are obese. I'm not saying go and be judgmental. It's not what I'm saying. I'm saying but if you start changing your habits, I can tell you that I attract I have so many amazing friends and relationships, but I attract people because they notice I order differently at restaurants. They notice that I look different. They're like, why are you so committed to go on this walk after dinner? Because I'm trying to recruit people, because you want glucose into your muscle. You don't want it circulating in your body. You don't want to go sit down. I mean, it's a contagion that's actually really positive when you're healthy.
Yeah, they do say you're the sum total of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
Yeah, and health is a big thing of that. Our humans, we're far more connected than we realize. We've got this this beautiful internet that we all delve into, but we also have consciousness, and we influence each other in very unique ways.
Yeah. One of the things you have not mentioned is pharma. And as you were talking about feeling pain and inflammation, what do most people do? They start popping ibuprofen and naproxen, and then
Yeah.
that starts poisoning your kidneys and your liver, and then you get even sicker longer term, instead of doing something to reduce the inflammation that would have taken care of the problem at the root level, correct?
That's right. Yeah, because I mean, that's the society we've created, and there's no one to blame but ourselves, because we wanted that most comfortable solution. It's like, I've got a headache. Oh, why don't you just take some acetaminophen or take an ibuprofen and it goes away? But you're not asking the deeper question, which is, why is the headache there? Or you've got high blood pressure. Your doctor says, okay, well, take a beta blocker. Great, my blood pressure is fixed. Well, it's not fixed. The drug is just suppressing the blood pressure. Why is it high in the first place? And that's really what I've looked at. I think medicine has departed from the scientific method, and it's done that largely in part of the society, kind of the society we built. But your channel is one of those few channels that is telling people to start thinking differently about their life and do things that are not conventional.
Well, the first thing worth mentioning here to every guy listening is whether you're 20 listening to this or 90 listening to this, it's worth it. I promise it's worth it. Your psychology may be saying, screw it, I'm just getting old, nice, good talk, guys, but, whatever. I promise you, 72 hours into feeling or into taking action, really, from a disciplinary perspective. Like, I don't feel like doing this, which is the whole point. Therefore, I'd better do it. 72 hours, you're going to go, wow, that was cold, hard facts. Because now my brain is telling me, yeah, you know what? We're already on a good track here. I'll tell you what, when I personally, first time I ever got this in order, first time ever, 72 hours later, I couldn't believe how much energy I had and how good I felt and how clear my thinking was. It happened that quickly. I was looking for
Yeah,
projects to do around the house. And my wife was like, man, are you going to come to bed? No, let me finish this one thing first. And it's like, she's like, where are you getting all this energy? And I'm like, you should try this. you know,
yeah,
um, my wife, when I first started dating her, she said she could eat like a Hoover vacuum cleaner and not gain an ounce. Right. Yeah, it's changed a little bit. She doesn't have
sure.
the issue with it that I do, but you just can't go through your life being unhealthy. And that's the whole point here is whether you're 20 listening to this or 90 listening to this show is for you. Because the sooner you start the good habits, the sooner you lock into, well, first of all, Reagan, the knowledge of what we should be doing. As soon as you lock into that and you start the habits, you're setting yourself up not only for raw longevity, but a higher quality of life throughout your lifespan. And if what they're saying is true about us living to be 100, 140, I guess, you know, those of us our age are like, cool, let's first of all live another decade, get through
Yeah,
that
with
hurdle,
our health.
and then make sure we're there for this.
Yeah,
Kids, my kids, people in college right now are like, okay, cool. I can just coast through all this and they'll fix me 50 years from now when this utopia is blowing and growing. Well, I don't know if that's a safe bet, right?
yeah, no. No, I mean, here's the thing is, I'm known in the world of peptides and stem cell therapy. And so, we can't, if you have not taken care of your health, you can't out peptide, you can't out stem cell, you can't out hormone it. You actually have to fix the foundation. We actually won't work with people if they're not willing to make lifestyle changes. And we don't do that because we don't have compassion. We just don't want people to waste their money. We don't want people to be disappointed. We want to maintain our reputation. I built a very high level of credibility, and my reputation is something I very much value, and I want to make sure we're going to get the results. But some of the breakthroughs, I mean, if someone is living healthy, when we inject stem cells into an osteoarthritic knee, where the doctors told them it's bone on bone, these patients just want to be able to golf again. They want to play with their grandkids. They're tired of the knees aching. They want to sleep at night without feeling that pressure. We drop stem cells into there. We have over a 90% success rate. And yeah, someone has to go off alcohol, 30 days, no alcohol. You can't take, any kind of anti-inflammatories. That ruins the signaling of the stem cells. And they are shocked that they actually got the result because their orthopedist is telling them there's no way it's going to work. Don't waste your money. But, 25,000 cases of osteoarthritic knees, over a 90% success rate, it should be making the news. I mean, but it doesn't, right? And then
Well, your garden variety internist and GP just wants to keep you involved with the sick care culture.
that's it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But, it goes back like pain. Like if you want to be attractive to women, if you're limping, unless it's like a gangster limp, like it's like you look like a tough guy, it's your strut. But if you're limping around or if you're in pain all the time, it's not attractive. And so you got to get rid of pain so your body moves freely, because it's not the way that you look as much as the way that you hold yourself. The way you hold yourself has a much bigger influence over women. We are aesthetic creatures. The human body is gorgeous. And if somebody is not taking care of it, it's kind of a shame. I think it's the best gift that we've been given is this opportunity as a conscious being to be able to inhabit a human body. I mean, how cool is that?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, your body can become a ghetto just like a bad neighborhood if you let it get run down. I mean, it's just I've never really thought about it that way till what you just so eloquently said. Number one complaint from women 55 and older who we happen to coach is all the guys their own age are no fun.
Yep.
They're all out of energy. They're all cranky because they don't have enough testosterone and they don't want them. And, that's why even older women are going after younger guys now.
Yep.
And I hear legitimately, and I don't think this is a terrible thing to say as a human being, especially when we're talking about people who are as yet single and have not met the person they're gonna be with yet. They'll say, and I hear this from men and women, okay, so this is not gender specific. They'll legitimately say, "Look, I'm 65. I don't wanna meet someone, get into a relationship, and become their palliative caregiver a year from now for the next 10 years. That's
Right.
not what I'm trying to sign up for." I mean, if we were high school sweethearts and this was the notebook, maybe, but I don't wanna meet someone, date for a year, and then they're dying for the next 10. I'm just not I'm trying to avoid that. That's horrifying. That's as horrifying as me getting into that state myself, is meeting someone and then we're married or we're in a committed relationship and I'm committed to them being in a terrible state too. Me, I
Right.
can control. Them, I can't. And I think
Right.
that's poignant and very true and very honest.
Yeah, my wife and I, it's a non-negotiable. Before we got married, that was it. It's like, hey, we are going to focus on our health. Yes, things happen that are outside of our control, but if we're not, it's a direct violation of our marriage contract. If I'm not taking care of my health, if I'm not exercising every day, if I'm not keeping commitments to myself when it comes to nutrition, if I'm not taking my peptides, if I'm not keeping my brain sharp, that's a violation. And I think it should be. I think there should be a lot more loyalty around you being the best version of yourself every day because relationships are tough and dealing with women are Scott, men are easy. I love working with men in health. Women are very, very complicated, but I can tell you the stability that we bring into their life when we have health, they calm down. You just calm the chaos, and they love that sense of presence that
Make a
somebody
woman feel
has
safe
when
and
they're healthy.
comfortable. Yes. You don't have to be a thug. You don't have to,
Mm-mm.
take bullets for her. You need to make her feel emotionally safe and comfortable. And I've seen, the red pill guys go, well, you know what? Let her do that for me. What's she contributing? Guys, you make a woman feel safe and comfortable, help her have fun and enjoy life. The feminine gifts will respond
Phew.
to that and they will come to you like a tsunami. Don't worry about what she's going to do first. You concern yourself with leading. And that kind of brings this conversation full circle, see? Because if you were a guy who's taking care of his health and you have more energy, you're thinking more clearly, you're not as cranky because your testosterone levels are, at a reasonable level for whatever guy, whatever age you are as a guy, then you're going to be this guy women are looking for. Now,
Yeah.
here's the thing. A 55-year-old woman doesn't want a 58-year-old guy who seems like he's on death's door. But you can be a
No.
65-year-old guy who's got vim, vigor, and vitality, right? All those things Jack LaLanne used to talk about, right? Who was still having sex with his old lady literally when he was 85 and proud
Yeah.
of it publicly. Yeah. When you're a virile, vivacious, which is a term we usually reserve for women, right? But a guy who's full of life at age
Yeah.
65, 30-year-old women, 35-year-old women are going to be like, wow, you're more fun and more interesting and wiser, make better decisions and have more energy than the last 38-year-old schlub I went out with. This is
Totally.
real talk, man, what you're
Yep,
talking
this
about.
is real. And as we age, I mean, the cool thing about as we mature, our brains become better. We understand things more. We have better context. We're not so
More
emotionally
wisdom.
reactive. The wisdom is important, but we also wisdom is, it's a virtue that we can look back on the past and learn from it. But we also have a future that's even bigger. And that's the cool thing when you're healthy. Now you can say, well, look, when I'm 75, here's what I'm going to be doing. Here's the businesses I'm starting at. One of my clients is 82, Scott, and his name's Dan Sullivan, and his goal is to live to be 156. He started a group called Strategic Coach, and just coaches entrepreneurs. And he is getting healthier every single quarter. He's vibrant, he's vivacious. It's a really good adjective for him. But I see it all the time. And he's somebody who focuses heavily on his health. I mean, he invests in his health 6 figures every year, and he's extending his lifespan. His business does better every year. It grows. He's, increases his wealth. A lot of people, they pursue wealth and leave their health behind. And then they expect like, oh, I'm just going to be able to write a check for my health. I had a client who was, let's see, he was 52 at the time. And I was meeting with him, going through his blood labs, and he just sold his company. And I was like, I asked him, what do you do for work? And he's like, well, I actually just sold my tech company for $32 million. I literally just got the wire. And he told me this, and I said, whoa, why are you meeting with me? I mean, you need to go celebrate. How does it feel? And he's like, well, I don't even care. He's like, look, I got a divorce. My kids hate me. I'm 50 pounds overweight at least, and I have no motivation. When I looked at his testosterone, it was 128. Like, we want men 700 to 900 on their total testosterone. And so we started working with him, and I got a text from him about 3 months into his program. And he said, Reagan, I didn't think this program would be so expensive. And I said, what do you mean? We were very transparent about our fee structure. And I didn't realize he was joking. And he sends me a picture of these receipts. And he said, I have to get all my clothes refitted because I'm losing so much weight. And then you fast forward a year later, he's got a new girlfriend. He looks like a completely different man. He's got muscles again. He lost his belly. He's got a new woman, and now he has a relationship with his kids. But he didn't need to go through all that hell just to build wealth. He could have taken care of his health along the way.
One of the things that is in the notes here, and time is short here, so I'm going to have you back to talk about all these other wonderful things that you're into, because they are many, they are legion. But many ambitious professionals unknowingly trade decades of long-term health for a few years of professional success. Man, that's a quote from your bio and your website, which is heavy duty, man. That feels like making a deal with the devil. That's
Yeah.
hardcore.
Well, we don't
But men do
realize it.
this.
Yeah, I mean, you think about it, it's like it's easier to justify the fact that you're grinding. It's like, look, I got to grind. I got to get this business to 50 million, 100 million, whatever you're trying to grow it to, which is, I'm all for that. But it's like, before you go grind, actually take some time to have a spiritual practice and then work your physical body. Your body is a gift. We act like it's some kind of entitlement that we're healthy. There's no entitlement. You got to own your body. Yeah, I mean, if you don't take 100% ownership over your body like you do your business, you're going to get that. You're going to climb to the top of that mountain. You're going to get that big check, and all it is digits on a screen, and you're going to feel like a fool.
What would you tell guys who are listening who have a few of the warning signs? And I think we know what they are. First of all, you can't get it up anymore. Perhaps second of all, I just don't have any energy. Third, I don't care whether I live or die anymore. Maybe you've been to
Yeah,
the doctor and got, the first signs of fatty liver, and you're like, well, I'll just stop drinking. That'll go away. And then your numbers don't improve the next time you
right.
visit. What do you tell those guys? What are the steps?
Well, first thing is, okay, what do you want your future to look like? So clarify. Second thing is, let's diagnose what's getting in the way. And this is not, by diagnose, you can't look at labs through standard ranges because that's based on 95% of the population. So you've got to narrow the blood labs down and read them differently. So find a functional medicine doctor. You can go to I've got a great team in all 50 states and international. So my team is all trained in functional medicine, but you got to look at the right data. And then once you understand where the interferences are, where the deficiencies are, Then you put together a plan, and this is where you step into the predictive model. Predictive model is, we have 95% accurate data where we know if we apply these inputs and you make these lifestyle changes, you apply these peptides, maybe stem cell therapy, these nutraceuticals, and you eat a certain way, you exercise, it's all medically based, you're going to have a big change over the next 90 days. And then we rerun the labs and we test the hypothesis. And then we go into the next phase, which is rejuvenate. So every day you want to rejuvenate means make things young again.
Yeah.
And
That's
so
great
what
word.
makes you feel young? You and I, we love action sports. Like I love mountain biking, snowboarding, skiing. I love adrenaline. And so I do something, at least once a week where I'm really pushing on the adrenaline button. So you got to have that enjoyable activity, the things that rejuvenate you. And then how does is your food rejuvenate? That bag of Doritos, not going to rejuvenate you. Don't justify that. Coke, get rid of it. Find something new that rejuvenates you and make it just part of your lifestyle.
Good stuff. Good stuff. His name is Dr. Reagan Archibald. He is the founder of Ageless Future. And when you go to mountaintoppodcast.com/ageless, and we've never had that one before, you're going to be magically teleported to Reagan's website, which is agelessfuture.com. What are they going to find when they get there, Reagan?
Oh, they'll find that they can build their health operating system with us. You can schedule a free intro call, and my team will take really good care of you, and they'll help you get the right testing done. So it starts with blood labs, and then you'll meet with one of our doctors on the team, and if it feels like the right fit for you, they'll put a very personalized protocol together for you.
Fantastic. All 50 states.
All
You said
50 states.
internationally, too.
And yeah, we have a lot of clients in Europe, Mexico, Canada, all over.
Fantastic, because we got a lot of listeners there too. Good stuff, Reagan. Yeah, come back and we'll talk about, something that we didn't even have time to talk about, your 4 pillars of rapid health transformation. There's lots to talk about. So yeah, man, definitely come back to the show.
I'd love to. Thanks so much for having me, Scott, and keep up the great work. We need more of you
too,
out
man.
there.
Yeah, absolutely. Gentlemen, head to mountaintoppodcast.com. If you haven't gotten your hands on my special report, Flip the Switch, 5 things you can do right now to get better with women immediately. Go ahead and grab that report while you're there. Also, you can get on the phone with me 25, 30 minutes, won't cost you a dime, to talk about, your future with women in particular. If things aren't going well on the job, you don't feel like you're being promoted, if you don't feel like you have the power in your voice that you feel you should have, those are things I help guys with all the time. Maybe you knew that, maybe you didn't, but if you get on the phone with me for 25, 30 minutes, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you something even from that free call that you can use, whether you continue doing coaching with me or not. All of those goodies and much more are there for you when you go to mountaintoppodcast.com. And until I talk to you again real soon, this is Scott McKay from X&Y Communications in San Antonio, Texas. Be good out there.
The Mountaintop Podcast is produced by X&Y Communications. All rights reserved worldwide. Be sure to visit www.mountaintoppodcast.com for show notes. And while you're there, sign up for the free X&Y Communications newsletter for men. This is Ed Roy Odom speaking for the Mountaintop Podcast.